Hey Erica, let's take a look at your week one assignment 3 drawing here. I think you've really kind of pushed the envelope in terms of the complexity of these. You've got more shapes than, I think is, is really needed in a first assignment or second assignment of the week. A lot of overlap, a lot of size change, a lot of variety. It's definitely an impressive sight when you, especially the top ones where you have all these circles kind of overlapping. Most people, they really just have one circle. So I think you've considered, you've gotten a considerable amount of experience dealing with some difficult edge situations, like you were saying in your post, which is, I think, a good thing. There's never a time when a little bit of extra practice is a bad thing. So, I think a lot of shapes going on. I think they all end up looking very impressive. Although, I think maybe you just you definitely went above and beyond with this one, which is good. Your edge quality is very good overall. There's very few instances in either the side to side or in the blind where I'm noticing your marker really starting to break away from the drawing that you've made underneath, or where shapes start to feel lopsided, asymmetrical, have corners that are rounded or soft. Everything feels, nice and sharp. You're doing a good job of keeping everything, nice and separate as well. So that to me is definitely one of the positives that we're seeing here. I think the blind technique on the bottom is excellent in both cases, the gray and the blue, or in the cool scheme. You've got a good variety of grays. Everything is very separate. You're cutting your edges on the inside and the outside of the shapes, or the insides of each of the shapes, which is good to see. And you're managing that the blind really well. There's very few gaps of white in between areas. There's very few gaps of white where the stroke ends into the cut, which is good. And you're dealing with a lot of shapes. So I was really impressed with this bottom part. I thought you did a terrific job with it. The top part, I think, is very good in a lot of ways. Edge quality, dealing with all this difficulty in terms of size difference and that sort of stuff. But there are areas where the fill feels a little bit inconsistent. The blue, for instance, it almost feels like suede a little bit, which is, it has kind of areas that are a little lighter, a little bit darker in value. So it doesn't have the smooth, even coverage that this green square does, which is really an excellent job. The gray ones as well, there's a lot of them, a lot of the mid-tone grays that they have a little bit of that occurring. The darkest gray, you've got a great consistent fill in the middle, but then around the edges it starts to lighten up. So these are things that, I almost feel like because you had so much to do here that I think just kind of naturally you started to run out of steam with it. This is a pretty tedious process, especially if they're large shapes to have to fill in. So I can see inconsistencies are going to happen. I think, in a more kind of realistic setting, you're going to be drawing, different things. There's going to be texture. There's going to be that sort of stuff. It's not as big of a deal, but I think the edge stuff that's going on with the darker shapes and, some of the stuff that's occurring in the green and then within the green are kinds of things that you want to take a look at. The edge quality here, it seems like it's breaking down a little bit, and I don't know if that's because of bleeding. I don't know if that's because having a harder time kind of reading the darker green of the triangle with this slightly lighter green behind it. I don't know, but there's definitely a little bit less of that consistency going on there. But it's more or less just kind of, just keeping at it, kind of plugging away at it more than it is anything else. You certainly got the technique down. You have a good understanding of the differences between them. You have a good understanding of the markers so far with excellent edge control and excellent blind control. So I think it's just a matter of, keep working with it. And these types of things I think are going to start to fall away as you work more.